Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. Welcome to the Token Metrics Market Update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. This show is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. If you need a roadmap in crypto and you need help in this ridiculous volatility, then subscribe to this channel. Turn on the alerts bell so you know when we're going live. And if you like the content, please give us a thumbs up. Let's say hello to everybody joining the stream here from wherever they're joining from. We have Flipburger and Taz early on the stream. Welcome. Jojo, Rohan, okay, Aiken with some notorious love. Thank you. Okay. Right. Jay, Sushi, hi. Okay, let's see. We have Holland, right? Liverpool, Oklahoma. Right? Green on the screen. People happy today. People looking from the UK, Long Island. Right? We appreciate everybody coming in for the market update. Every day it seems like the market update gets more and more important in terms of navigation because it gets more volatile each day. Delray Beach, Sheboygan. Welcome. All right. Anil, nice to see you too. Richard Barry, what is going on with the market? All right. That's a great question. So without anything further, let's get into your market update. All right. Now, before I get rolling, I just wanted to sort of go over something. I want to just take the geopolitical situation and recap it. All right. So Putin builds up troops. No one thinks he's going to invade. He invades. And he tells you in a speech that there will be consequences beyond what you've ever seen if you mess with me. Then he sends in what looks like a very small force, right? Just enough to create images on Western news stations that get everybody all wound up. Like most of the Russian force seems to still be in Russia. All right. So after the West gets all riled up, what do? They use the dollar as a weapon. All right. And they cut the Russians out of SWIFT. At which point, Mr. Putin says, we're going to open the silo doors. In American movies, they call it DEFCON 1. So we nuked their currency and they're threatening to nuke us. Interesting, right? Follies in the world of fiat. Now, if you ask me, if you have a problem with someone's tanks and planes, then you counter that with tanks and planes. I don't know that using the SWIFT system and the dollar as a weapon is all that smart because, again, the guy just went nuclear. Let's also keep in mind that we've got the Fed coming up and inflation on the 10th of March with commodities, many things like wheat and other items, limit up today. Now, with all that cheery news, you might be wondering, well, gee, Bill, if that's the situation, how come the market's up? Well, markets love to climb the wall of worry, right? And also there's the obvious need out there for people to get their hands on Bitcoin at the retail level. Not countries, but anybody who woke up this morning with less purchasing power is probably looking to get crypto. So that's what's going on with today's rally. And now that we understand the geopolitics, now that we understand what's going on with individual citizens, let's dive into the charts. This is the US dollar versus the Russian ruble. So dollar up, ruble down. So a little bit of a brain bender. So according to what I have, the technical point for the ruble was 94, and it can go to 112. So that means there are currently problems with the Russian currency, and those problems can get worse according to this chart. Back to Brent crude oil. Remember this? Thought it was a top, then maybe not, right? I still have an upside target of 116. So if the ruble can do worse, if the dollar can beat up on the ruble, and oil can go up, and food is limit up, these are things that you should take note of. Now, let's talk about stocks. Wow. Did they rally last week? And they even came back from being like down 3% overnight. So people want to buy stocks. And in the stock market, they never met any Kool-Aid that they didn't like. So they may be assuming that with the nature of this whole thing, the Fed can't hike rates and the Fed isn't going to want to stop inflation. Now, I don't know if that's true, but in the stock market, when it comes to things like economic growth, it can rally up to 4,470. So if it's above 4,300, this is S&P futures, I guess they can take it to 4,470. But if it's below 4,300, you have to ask yourself, Fed plus inflation plus nuke, why is everybody buying stocks? That said, I don't want to get in the way of the party today. It's a FOMO day. But mind you, right? What have I said throughout this entire 2022, right? All of this year, your enemy is the failed rally. So if it's like rally, Bitcoin up 15% all day, and then it slowly rolls over and comes off, then this market's in trouble, right? Now, if it's not in trouble, stocks are going to go to 4,470. And now let's take a look at what Bitcoin can do. So Bitcoin's above 40K. That was my big level from last week, right? And I had that everywhere from my trading view charts to my hand kept charts. So the market is enthusiastically through that on the possibility of legit crypto adoption. So I just talked about all that stuff that's not good, but obviously, I'm almost calling it the white swan, right? The black swan that's positive could be massive crypto adoption. Like eBay's talking about taking it. I mean, who in the crypto industry wants to be bearish at the grand moment where crypto arrives because of fiat follies with the SWIFT system? Okay. Now, in terms of charts, Bitcoin can go to 42,400. So that may be what happens today. You may have this massive FOMO trade up to that level, and then it may come off. Now, if it doesn't come off, it's probably going to go to 50, right? Because we all know what happens when you get massive momentum trades in Bitcoin. We're currently checking in the on-chain data. We're going to aggressively look at, stablecoin creation. We're going to be, in case, fiat is coming into the crypto system. Total value locked in Luna has gone through the moon. Okay. So we're checking, right, to see if, Bitcoin is being pulled off exchanges before any Russian addresses get blocked, etc. So it's either going to 42 or it's going to 50. Now, that said, again, it's simple navigation. If it comes back down below 40, okay, then you have material downside risk. Grab your popcorn and stay tuned. Okay, this is a little bit of a closer in look. Okay, I had it marked on the other chart, but it's a little easier to see here that there's an oscillator. It looks like MACD. It's a histogram at the bottom of the chart. So currently that little oscillator is right at 0. And one thing that I was taught when I learned the system is that, when that oscillator gets to 0, you can expect a big move. Now, it could be a big move up. The last time we saw it back in mid-Feb around Valentine's Day, there was like one final rally and then a huge down move. Okay. So I would think if this thing goes to 42,400, you need to keep a very keen eye on what happens. That's all. Right? Because you don't want to get caught FOMOing into this thing if it turns over. Now, if you're super bullish and you already own crypto, well, then hang with it, right? And just see what happens. Because remember, your enemy is a failed rally. And if there's no failed rally, then it's either 42 or 50. Okay, let's look at ETH. So in ETH, when you look down at the bottom histogram, right, you can see the areas. I have them marked with black arrows where that oscillator got to zero. So there were 5 declines and 1 rally. And currently that oscillator sits at 0, right? So if you focus in, right, there's 3 levels in ETH. There's 2840. So ironically, ETH is not above its resistance yet. It hasn't even made a new high relative to what it was over the weekend, which is a little weird, right? So you would think ETH would do really well with MetaMask and the ability to, to move ETH around quickly, even though I guess there's gas fees. So ETH is below its weekend high. Now, if it gets above that, there's 2 levels on the upside. There's 3,100 or 3,112. And then if we go full FOMO, it's 3,250. But as I've said, today is a FOMO day, right? But what you want to be careful of as the day sort of ends is you want to be careful of the failed rally. It's just, that's all. I would love it if Bitcoin went to 50. I would love it if stocks went down and Bitcoin went up. Like, this could be the decoupling. This could be it. I woke up this morning, I was like, wow, look at this thing. I am not going to be on TV being super bearish, working for a crypto company if there's going to be a decoupling or some sort of like crypto dawn. All right. I'm just going to tell people the levels, and I'm going to tell you that if you get a failed rally, the Fed, inflation, and nuclear weapons loom. All right. So if that's good for crypto, awesome. If it's not good for crypto, you need to act. That's the most important thing, right? Failed rally means act. All right, let's talk about resistance levels in some of the big coins. Now, we're going to talk about resistance because if it's not resistance, like however many hours or a day from now, well, then it's on, right? It's on in some of the bigger altcoins. So in Luna, right, I'm looking at the daily chart. We were discussing 87 last week, right? I don't think I was constructive enough. I was like, yeah, this could go to 87, right? Here we are at 87, right? All at once. Okay, Avalanche. Now let's talk about this. So we got the support right at 65. It went to 82. Now it's hanging out here. Now, if Avalanche breaks below 82, you could be looking at 94 or 95. I think it is very important that Luna not be a one-coin DeFi show. Avalanche outperformed for a long time. It kind of never really went down. At least it's not as bad as the other coins. That's what it felt like. So if Avalanche is above 82, good. If Avalanche is not above 82, then I might think twice in altcoins, right? In other words, Luna and Avalanche have to kind of break out for the whole space to start following Bitcoin and ETH. It took about 4 hours to generate the 10 charts I just showed you here. And we'll go through altcoins in a minute in kind of our Q&A. But I just think the volatility is so unbelievable. You're looking at stocks, oil, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, right? Cosmos, another outperformer on this leg up, okay, has resistance at 30 on its 4-hour chart. So Cosmos has stopped at 30 twice, right? If Cosmos hangs out below resistance, it can go through, right? And if not, then again, you have to be asking yourself, is this a failed rally or is this just like a pause that refreshes before everything goes higher, right? The most important thing is to have levels, look at the levels, and then act, right? Because news flow changes hour to hour, and I'm only on with you for 60 minutes a day. And that is the market update. All right. Now let's see what we got going on in Q&A. Okay, Wilfredo says, what a market. Absolutely. So we have France, Jamaica. Okay. Hello from Luxembourg. Carlin, hi. Okay. All right. We have the Czech Republic. 2010 BCC says risk off. All right. We have people up late night in India and Eastern Europe, San Francisco, Nigeria, Estonia, South Africa. All right. Friends, we welcome you to the show. All right. So we have a request for Axia coin. Let's take a look at Axia. Let me bring up the software. Bring up the software, share the screen. Here it comes. Okay. All right. Last week in Axia, I think we discussed 1276 as kind of resistance. All right. Now, with the way things are trading, I guess you can't be surprised if it goes through resistance, particularly since, these moving average bands are widening out. Now, maybe I'm a reverse indicator, and that's entirely possible, but I vote to take half the profits in Axia. That is how I would do it. Not investment advice. All right. Flip Burger says, don't forget to hit the like button, right? Please help us out. We have somebody from South Africa joining. All right, Luna. People asking for charts on Luna. I did one, but let's take a look anyway. Okay, so here's Luna on the DeMark work. Okay, the dotted line is the resistance at 87. All right. Luna did top near 90 and 95. So, if Luna is going to take off, it can. I mean, this DeMark work over here, it is maybe you got 2 more up days, right? But if you've been hodling Luna or you listen to Mehdi, because me and Mehdi talked about 50, he was the one who came up with 50 as the level to buy it. You had to put up with some nasty flushes, but that's always the case. Right. So if Luna takes out 87, then you're in good shape. All right. Now, I set up over the weekend kind of a watch list, right? Because I know that people are going to come in and say, for example, what about Cardano? Okay. Now, let's talk about Cardano. DeMark has like an Elliott wave tool. So if you look at Cardano, it's been going down, right? And then you start at the 0, and then it goes A, B, C, right? Meaning that, Cardano, I said, let's not sell it at 75 cents. All right. Now it's up at $1. So everyone wanted to sell at 75, and everybody probably wants to buy at 95. And the way I'm sort of approaching this market is when it looks like it's going to 0, buy. And when it looks like it's going to the moon and beyond, right, you at least take some profits, or, you just be mindful of failed rallies. Okay, crypto.com. All right, now this could be a much more interesting picture because of renewed retail demand for crypto. So the DeMark work doesn't show a top over here, and neither does the D wave. So remember I talked in Cardano about like A, B, C, right? There's just A and B here. C may be a new high in crypto.com, possibly back to its old high near, not its old high, its recent high at 46. So, I mean, if Bitcoin goes to 42, or, ETH goes to 3,100, then crypto.com actually stands to benefit a lot based on what I'm looking at. Now, let's take a look at Phantom. All right. All of the DeFi coins have this look, right? I saw it on Chainlink. All right. Over here, we have the green 1, 2, 3, 4. So sometimes when you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, that means you're going to have a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remember, we go from like 1 to 9. And then there's also that thing where we go from 1 to 13. It's just a way of counting conditions. You don't have to know the math. But a lot of times, if you get a solid 4, right? If it goes to the fourth condition, you see Bitcoin taking out 42, then it stands to reason that all these DeFi-related coins like Phantom could do better. All right. That said, again, your enemy is a failed rally that turns the DeMark work. All right. Now we have Rose. So this looks better than you might imagine. All right. There is a lot of resistance at 26 cents. Okay. There's also resistance at 28 cents, but this is obviously a head and shoulders bottom. Okay. I was going to try and draw a neckline here. Okay. This is the shoulder. This is the head, and this is the shoulder. Right. So for guys out there that are long Rose, if Bitcoin and Ethereum don't stop, Rose may not stop. Even if it is A, B, C correction, it may not end till 28. It may not end to 31, right? I can't predict speculative juices. I would say that this is February 28th when this is being recorded. And whatever massive FOMO upside is going to occur is probably going to occur between now and the equities close at 3 o'clock. And then once these peace talks at the Belarus border are over, then you might have to make a decision. So it feels good if you're long Rose. Obviously, 25, 26 cents is better than the disaster at 18. And there's more upside if Bitcoin takes out 42. You just trade all these altcoins off Bitcoin. All right. Right. Richard is saying gas spiked last night and then chilled out. Okay, that's true. Please don't talk about Cardano. Hey, Emanuela wants to know if we can talk about Chainlink. Let's do that. All right. Now, Chainlink, I've gotten in trouble with Chainlink before, but it's almost like I don't mind getting in trouble again. So here we have Chainlink. We have the DeMark work, right? And when I look at Chainlink, when I blow up the screen, okay, it looks like there's a 13 bottom, all right, and they're working on their 4th of 9th condition. You know, the next resistance level in Chainlink is 19. So one of the things that's not being talked about, right, particularly if we're in this like massive crypto FOMO move, right, no one's talking about DeFi, right? In other words, if banks on Swift are closed, then DeFi may be of interest. Now, if I had to get long something, I would probably pick Chainlink. All right. This just to sort of put it in perspective, this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Right. Now, Bitcoin is outperforming today, but theoretically, this is a 4-wave, and you could have a 5-wave where ETH might actually outperform if the market goes up. All right. Okay. Dog of dogs, Rune. Okay. There's a couple of 13 bottoms. This whole idea of cross-chain interoperability. You know, I don't think I would get long this unless Bitcoin took out 42 and a half and looked like it was just going to go to 50. But, you know, as far as altcoins go, right, it's an interesting idea, at least to look at DeFi. All right, we have people sometimes asking for synthetics. I forgot that. You know, synthetics, it seems pretty simple, right? This 5 down here, right? That's a fifth wave. Right? So in synthetics, right? It looks like it's over. And it looks like they want to buy big cap DeFi. At least they do today. Right? So if Bitcoin takes out 42.5 and you feel like you missed Bitcoin, there could be an opportunity in alts. Okay, let's go to the metaverse because I have people asking for Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? All right, so Sandbox doesn't look as good as the other coins, right? The DeFi coins look better. It looks like, you know, Sandbox has to get above 325 before you get too excited. So in the metaverse, this is what I would tell you. So that was the daily chart, right? Here's the intraday chart of Sandbox showing all the resistance between 315 and 323. So it's one thing to buy a dip, right? Like Sandbox has been in this range showed by the dotted lines between 283 and 323. Now, if Sandbox breaks out, cool, right? But if this is a trap, right? If there's inflation, the Fed, and nuclear weapons, you better ask yourself about highly speculative altcoins, right? So I'm not going to rain on the crypto parade. You just don't want to see a failed rally. You just don't, because that would be just like every other failed rally that we've had all along. Back then, the silo doors were not open and commodities were not limit up. Okay. All right, let's go to Decentraland. Let's try a intraday chart. So Decentraland seems to have more room. This is a 4-hour chart. It's got the 13 bottom, right? There's not a whole lot of resistance until 301. Okay, let's look at the daily chart. All right. You know, the daily chart, is somewhat similar. The operative candlestick is obviously this huge reversal day right here, right? And then this is a potentially decent candlestick, but the question is, will you get follow through once Bitcoin prints 42.5? If Bitcoin prints 42.5 and keeps going, then all these altcoins are going to follow. Okay. All right. I covered Cosmos already. Okay. Important pivot at 30. Let's check the market before I keep talking. Just see where we are. Okay. So Bitcoin's still up like 9%. Right. See what I can get done with Osmo here. Okay, so the read in osmosis is turning positive, right? Because this moving average system is turning positive on the 8-hour chart, right? But, like I said, every time this thing goes up, there's somebody selling it at 10. So in order for this thing to prove itself, it's got to hold 9.5 and then go up again. All right, someone asking for Solana. Let's go back to the layer 1 charts. Hopefully you guys are happy with this because I actually loaded the ones that you guys have all the requests in. Okay, so this is Solana. All right, now Solana has done nothing, right? So there's this whole ABC correction thing, meaning this whole down move could have been just a correction of Solana's big up move. And obviously this is a very strong green candlestick. So this C and 5 means the downtrend in Solana could be over. Now, how would you know it was over? Well, you've got what looks like a head and shoulders bottom here. These charts are a lot harder to draw on than TradingView. All right. I would say if Solana is taking out 101 and 102, then that's telling you that the entire crypto world is being revived. Now, FOMO is so easy. I mean, it was so easy to want to sell at 34. I resisted that, right? And it's a little hard to buy at 42. It'll be harder at 49 or 50. Okay, I'm just telling you, watch out for the failed rally. Now, in Solana, what would be a failed rally? Well, obviously, it would lurch up to like 100 or 101 and fail. Okay, so we want to be careful about that. Now, someone is asking about XRP. BitBoy pounding the table pretty hard on XRP as a payment system. Okay, pretty hard to argue with that. Okay, but the big question is, what does the chart say? All right. XRP, the moving average system is neutral. And if you look at this arrow right here, XRP is at the point where, this oscillator is neutral. But notice what happened, the last couple times it was neutral. You got big up moves or big down moves. Now, I realize I'm a technical analyst. I know that you want conviction, okay? But in a market like this, either you believe in XRP and you believe in support at this moving average system at like 73 cents, and you want to go with it, right? I think, I haven't looked at it yet. I was thinking at a stable coin system or a stable coin or central bank digital currency blockchain like QNT might be interesting, but it's still sort of languishing, even though this was a nice candlestick today, right? So somebody is going to win from the Swift shenanigans. It could be Bitcoin. It could definitely be XRP. Okay. Crow will overtake XRP. That's possible, right? They have that fast network, and if the government settles up their case, because the government, has bigger problems. Now, SN is asking, what if Solana network fails again? Well, Solana's network can't fail in an environment like this, right? In other words, if you have coin-specific problems, when you have a weird macro world, that would probably be really bad, to be honest with you. They have a lot of competition. Okay, let's take a look at Theta. Okay, so Theta is doing what everything else does, right? Its 8-hour moving average system has reached neutral. And when that happens, big moves occur. Okay, let's go to checking out Polkadot on a 4-hour chart. You're going to see that there's resistance right around $18.11. Okay, Grizzly Bull is asking, do you see BTC at 100K this year? Okay, this is a good question, right? 3 weeks ago or a month ago, Bitcoin was going to 10K, right? And now it's going to 100. Now, could Bitcoin go to 100K? Yeah, if it becomes like the backup reserve currency, or huge countries' populations have to try and start using it. I think it's more realistic to talk about Bitcoin at 50K. That's my crazy upside target, is 50, right? Only because everyone's forgotten about, I mean, it's not market relevant, but have you heard one word about COVID? None, right? And you haven't heard anything about the Fed and inflation or tapering. There's not a word. The CNN anchors are still trying to figure out what Swift is. And you got inflation coming up soon. So I think the only way Bitcoin gets to 100K is if the Fed doesn't really have to tighten. If economic growth stalls because of the geopolitical situation, and they can just keep on printing. So 100K is really more of a fundamental phenomenon than a chart one. I think if you want to talk pie in the sky and charts, it's 50. Okay. Any ideas for Alpha Finance? You know, this is just a heartbreaker coin, right? It's just a heartbreaker. I mean, I would think for Alpha, you know, looking at this 8-hour chart again, you know, right now it's kind of in neutral territory. Let me see if I can actually try to pull up something on this, because I know people are hurting in this coin. Okay. All right. So perhaps some better news, right? The moving average stuff is neutral. I'm not that excited about this DeMark work here. It's pretty close to the 13 number, right? And then Alpha, like all these other things, the question is, are people willing to pay higher prices? Okay. In other words, Alpha has been making a base at this level. So that blue line could be the neckline of a head and shoulders bottom. How awesome would that be, right? Nobody's talking about kind of alts and speculative cryptos taking off. Okay, so if you got, you know, really it takes one more big update, right? Some of this stuff is at resistance, so you don't want to buy resistance, but you might look at certain beat up coins if Bitcoin can take out 42K. Okay. All right. So we got people asking for Filecoin. I'm going to change the time frame here because I would imagine all of these time frames look the same. So I'm going to go to the daily chart, and I know someone's asking for API 3. I'm going to do that next. Okay. All right. So in Filecoin, this is a 1-hour chart, believe it or not. And if Filecoin is above, say, 32 cents, then it can continue to go up, maybe to 37 cents. But if Filecoin is not above 32 cents, then you want to exit, or at least be careful. Let's do it that way. Oh, God, this is Alpha. My bad. Okay. I knew Filecoin was bigger than that. Not a 32-cent coin. All right, let's try Filecoin this way on the 1 hour. All right, so it looks like, from what I can tell, Filecoin may have reached an objective on the upside at 21. So Filecoin's done quite well, but I think you got to ask yourself about taking profits or adjusting your position if it falls back below 21. Okay, and again, I'm working on 1-hour charts. When's the last time you saw me working on 1 hour? Like, that's how insanely volatile this market is. Okay. Now I'm trying to do, you know, Moon River here. You know, I just can't help myself because I did not want to sell here. And I don't know how crazy I am at buying here, given that, you know, this oscillator is pretty tricky, right? It's kind of at the uh-oh zone, right? Now, this was the uh-oh zone here. So some altcoins look okay, but there isn't an altcoin out there that doesn't have this it could go either way oscillator, right? It doesn't. Okay, somebody's asking for the 1 hour picture on ETH. I'll just throw that up here. Right. So the big level in ETH that you want to look out for is 2834, right? If you get a massive move at the close through 2834, then probably the next level in ETH is up here at 3100, right? Now, I'll just tell you right now, most likely the way all this comes to an end, I'm saying today, right? So this is the last day of February. Now, in the past, we have talked about a rally at the end of the month. And of course, the market was impossible, right? Made us think it was going to zero last night and did the entire 14 days worth of upside in like a day. Crazy, right? All right. Somebody's asking for Litecoin. I'm always a sort of a sucker for Litecoin, right? All of these, like Nano, Dash, if we're in some sort of era where, crypto is used as money, or if we're in the middle of an adoption trade, right? It looks like the next level of relevance in Litecoin is at 114. Okay, let's see what Litecoin looks like on this chart. This is a 4-hour chart of Litecoin. Right? One thing that seems interesting to me is that Litecoin right around here, right around 106, is above this DeMark smart moving average system. Right? Again, it's harder for me to highlight, but you just have to follow that mouse. Right? So it looks like there was a big up move and people are actually buying the dip. All right. Okay. Odin says, Bill, can you comment on Michael Saylor basically guaranteeing to bid BTC off his corporate bonds indefinitely? Well, I mean, Michael Saylor's borrowed a lot of money. Okay. So let's put up a Bitcoin chart while I talk about this. He's borrowed a lot of money, right? So he's very leveraged, right? But he's essentially betting that Bitcoin, right, 4 years from in 2024 will be much, much higher than it is right now, because that's when he has to pay back his bonds. The money that he borrowed, that's when he has to pay it back. Now, again, folks, we may be in an area where, Bitcoin can go to 42 or higher, and it's easy to be bullish. And who knows, it could be breaking out and going to 50, right? The market's climbed the wall of worry, and it's natural for Michael Saylor to want to pound the table on being long, because back at 33K, everyone was like, so Mike, when are you selling? Like, how annoying must that be, right? Really annoying. Okay. All right. Somebody has a very high target in SNX. Somebody cut some losses in Solana at 88. Okay. Let's go to Solana. You know what, folks? When you have a trade that doesn't work out, it's okay. I mean, if you had to take some losses, you take some losses. I mean, at 107 over here, it looked like Solana was going to the moon, right? And then it crashes and went to 77. When you do risk management, folks, you do risk management when it's on the way up. That's when you adjust your portfolio. So if you're long, well, you can move stops up. Or if you have to cut losses so you can be sane, then cut the losses so you can be sane, right? It's okay. I mean, do you think after Bitcoin was down last night and S&P was down 3% overnight, that, you don't have company getting chopped up. I'm getting chopped up. Took 4 hours to make 10 charts, right? All right. Someone's asking about near. I've got near right on this tab. Okay. So this is the 4-hour chart of near, right? You had the 9 bottom around 8. You've got resistance at 932, right? That was the last 9 top. So this work here, this work here seems encouraging, where you're now counting in the opposite direction. So if near takes out 932, it can probably just go, right? In other words, this was kind of the read that we had last week, right? We looked at Bitcoin, we looked at Ethereum, but, the altcoin sector kind of had a perky bid to it. So if you don't get a failed rally and you're long near, you could stay long near. But if you get the failed rally, folks, I know that it's annoying to listen to as a disclaimer at the end of every chart. You just don't want to see the failed rally, right? Vladimir Putin's silo doors are open. That is not good for risky assets, all right? Okay, so let's go over here. Let's take a look at Metaverse. Now, folks, naturally, since I'm doing a lot of request work lately, I would seriously appreciate it if you would hit the like button. Seriously. Okay, so we're looking at Vulcan. Okay, let's switch to like a daily chart of some of these Metaverse coins to see what we can get. Okay, so when you have the Metaverse, you have to be careful that momentum is still not on your side, right? Now, if Vulcan has a positive move, say over the next like 2 or 3 days, like in other words, some of this Metaverse stuff like Sandbox, Vulcan, it probably requires 2 or 3 days of 2 or 3 more days of upside before you can breathe easy, right? I know. I forgot API 3. Okay, monster up move here. Let's see if I can get a bigger history. Okay, so when you look at API 3, if you look at a daily, right? This looks like a chart where momentum is clearly intact, right? It gets away from its moving average system, but it comes back to it and holds, pretty obvious support. So the ceiling became the floor. So whatever's going on here fundamentally, most likely can continue as long as Bitcoin is okay, right? Because the ceiling over here from November became the floor. Why do you think DOT has underperformed from Awesome Mo? Well, in crypto bull markets, there's a lot of room for people to get excited about new things, even if they're not operational yet. But we're in this world where, the only thing I did this weekend was, I got long meat and soup at the grocery store. I did charts and watched CNN. And the next thing I know, I woke up and it's Monday morning. Okay. So this market is so complicated and people have to spend so much time on things that are operational, like big coins, that there isn't a lot of tolerance for stuff that may not be as useful yet, right? DOT is speculative, right? And this is not a good environment for speculative assets. It's a good environment for cryptocurrency in general because people need it as money because of the Swift follies. But that doesn't have anything to do with certain altcoins. So if it's got a DeFi function, maybe an NFT function, right? But I'm thinking more DeFi, right? Now, if Polkadot was online, that's a totally different story. Okay. Okay. Harmony, I covered. Okay. Let's see if I can get KDA in here because I know that we have KDA fans. Okay. So let's get KDA up on the DeMark stuff. Okay, no results for Cadena on this one. Let's go over here. Okay, so one thing you're seeing is that people want these layer ones. You know, they want them. All right. So let's just take a brief look here. So let's draw some new stuff on Cadena on the fly. And let's see what we get. All right. So the big level in Cadena is 702. Above 702, then it's good. If it's not above 702, look at how many times it failed up here. Right? And then look at this indicator down here, right? Which means a big move is coming. Now, maybe it's a humongous up move because crypto as a whole breaks out, or everybody just kind of FOMO'd in doing the crypto dream trade, right? Only to see reality set in later. So if now flip side, if KDA breaks out, it can go all the way up probably to 8.6, right? Because that's where the whole down move started from. So I mean, you're watching 702 and 8.6. You know, and when you watch the news, you just remind yourself that you're long speculative assets. Okay, Yasser, appreciate that. Okay, Omar asking for VeChain. So we'll close it out with VeChain. Let me see if I can bring that up on the DeMark. All right. So we all know that, you know, VeChain is like, you know, the box of chocolates under the bed, that it's kind of the bad habit, the thing I like to like, even though I probably shouldn't. Okay. I know we all have an altcoin like that. I mean, VeChain has been in this range between 5 cents and, you know, 4 cents. I don't know, for a while, right? It looks like a head and shoulders bottom. And the question is, you know, can it break out? Right now, it's trying to break out, right? So if Bitcoin is good, right? If Bitcoin leads, the altcoins can follow. It would be definitely a contrarian moment, right? But again, like with this, like when you have a bottoming formation that looks really bullish, that's good, okay? But if it fails, like if the bullish pattern breaks, then you have to basically get out. But if you're long VeChain, right, there's no harm in leaving it. If the market's going up and it's green, leave it. But if there's a failed rally, that's time to exit. Coinbase Pro now limiting deposits from banks to $1,000 per day now. It used to be $25,000 per day. Okay, I don't know if that's true, but I always like to chit chat with our readers and keep everybody up and running. All right. I don't know if I did Sol. I know people always ask for that. So I'm going to actually do one more, right? Because people are asking for that. And I know while I'm pulling it up, people are just going to be slamming on that like button. Let's try one more time. Hey, not coming up there. Let's try it over here. Okay, so monster rally today in Sol up 10%. Now, Sol is coming off nice support at $1.23, right? And there's right now, it looks like some kind of base, right? It's probably more neutral, but the question is, will somebody come in and pay higher prices for this? Right? In other words, it looks like it's up massively today. It's like, oh my God, it's still inside of its range. It hasn't gone anywhere for 5 or 6 days. So are people willing to pay up for this above the recent highs? And then after that, you'll ask yourself what you want to do from there. Okay, folks, that's it. That is it for today, right? Stay tuned with your charts. Stay tuned with the levels that we talked about, right? This is the type of a market where a technical analyst, say at the higher end in an investment bank, they'd be giving traders levels. If it's above this, good. If it's below that, not good, right? That's all you can do because you're looking at hour by hour, day by day changes. Really, it's more like hour by hour. Right now, it's a positive hour with Bitcoin headed for 42K. Bitcoin's above that, awesome. If Bitcoin comes back down below 40, then adjust your positions. This is Bill Noble from Token Metrics. I will be here tomorrow.